2 weeks is exactly long enough for a hospital floor to forget a face, and exactly long enough for a family to find out whether a fix was ever going to hold. Priya didn't expect to know the answer firsthand. Marcus had been discharged 12 days earlier, polite and a little stiff in the doorway, the way people are when they're not sure how to thank someone for something that can't really be repaid. She assumed, the way you assume about most patients once the door closes, that she'd never find out how the story ended. She found out anyway, because Denise stopped her in the hallway with the particular brightness of someone delivering good news they'd had to fight for. The hardship fund had come through faster than the 6 weeks anyone had promised. A coincidence mostly, plus one phone call from a discharge planner who'd decided the math didn't have to be that slow for everyone. It covered transportation outright now. No more begging favors off coworkers 2 streets over. And the volunteer ride for Friday sessions, the one nobody had ever officially organized, had simply kept happening without anyone deciding to stop it, until a Mercy West tech named Carla and Lily had what amounted to a standing weekly coffee that happened to also involve dialysis. And Marcus? Priya asked. Cleared to go back. Day shifts only, for now. His charge nurse actually had to talk him into taking the lighter schedule. Apparently he asked for it. First time, far as anyone there can remember, he's ever asked for less instead of more. Priya hadn't expected that detail to land the way it did. She'd spent 4 days watching a man insist he was fine, while every system in his body quietly disagreed. And somewhere in the 2 weeks since, he'd learned the considerably harder skill of saying, "I need this to be smaller," out loud, to people whose job it was to say yes. She ran into him once more, almost by accident, the week after. A hospital-wide training neither of them had any reason to expect the other at. The kind of fluorescent-lit conference room that makes everyone look slightly more tired than they are. He found her during the break, coffee in hand, looking like a man who'd rehearsed what he wanted to say and was still nervous saying it. "I never actually said thank you, properly." "You don't have to," she said. "I know I don't have to. I'm doing it anyway." He glanced down at his shoes, scuffed white, the same brand half the room was wearing without thinking about it. "Lily's doing okay. Really okay. Not the kind I used to tell people when I meant the opposite." Naomi found them both a few minutes later. She'd come for the same training, a coincidence neither of them had engineered, and stood there for a second just looking at him like she was confirming something to herself. The man upright, talking, holding a coffee instead of a code cart. "You look better upright," she said. "Funny, everyone keeps telling me that." After he left, Naomi lingered by Priya's table a moment longer than the conversation needed. "I almost didn't text you that day," she admitted. "Felt strange, reaching into someone else's hospital for a patient that wasn't technically mine anymore." "I'm glad you did." "Yeah." Naomi looked toward the door he'd just walked out of. Turns out he was never really anyone's patient alone. Just took 12 people and 2 weeks to notice. Priya thought about that longer than she meant to, on the drive home that night, the way you do with the ones who stay with you. She thought about a man who'd built an entire identity out of being the person nobody had to worry about, and what it had finally taken, a collapse, a sister, a small, unglamorous army of people who barely knew him, to teach him that needing help wasn't the same thing as failing to be strong. She checks on her own coworkers differently because of it now. Not the performative, "You good?" tossed over a shoulder between rooms, but the real question, the one that waits for an answer instead of already walking away. Some math, it turns out, was never supposed to be done alone in the first place.